More likely Bills blowout or an upset loss.
This is where you're going to see the difference between an awesome story, the Broncos, and an awesome team, the Bills. The Bills are at their most comfortable and confident in this exact spot, and they're in this spot basically every year because they are always good enough to have a great seed, but since the NFL took away the ability for two teams to get the bye, they've never been the number one seed, so they never have the bye. They always have an overmatched opponent in round one, very often 3 years running. It's now 4 years running, I guess. A guy making his first career playoff start, and for the previous three, likely their only career playoff starts, because it was Mac Jones, Skylar Thompson, and Mason Rudolph, and they cooked. And so the Bills so to me, Bills blow out the last 4 years. They're undefeated in the wild card round, and when you see Rivers on there, you're like, oh, he was awesome. Not with the Colts, not when the Bills played them. Mac Jones, Skylar Thompson, Mason Rudolph. Now, to be fair, 2 of those games were field goal games. The Colts game and the Miami game, oddly, was a game Josh had a bunch of touchdowns but also a bunch of turnovers, and Miami kind of stayed within arm's length. That, if you remember, kind of some clock not malfunctioning, but mismanagement at the end of the game by Mike McDaniel. But the Bills have been blowing people out all year. Like, when they beat you significantly. And I know, Brew, they did get blown out by Baltimore, but I
didn't say it.
Well, I think that's the only time the Bills.
I will later, but
I mean, that's the only time they were blown out throughout the year. And then, so third most double-digit wins, the most 20-plus point wins, and then you have the Broncos, Brew, who beat one good team all year long, Tampa, very early. So you'll see they have 2 wins against playoff teams, but one of those wins was not against a playoff team. It was against the backups of a playoff team, Kansas City in Week 18. So if we just remove that, then they're 1-5. And I understand that you can say don't remove it, fine.
No, you should remove it. Everybody knows that.
So I think Denver overachieved this year. I think Denver feels great, maybe better than they should, about their rookie quarterback, but he was awesome. Sean Payton has been awesome. And Nick Bonito and the defense has been excellent. But I do not believe, Wilds, that Bo Nix is going to walk into Buffalo in his first career playoff game and win on the road.
He shouldn't. And I think you're correct. You didn't even add in that the Bills are undefeated at home and the Broncos are middling when they leave the friendly confines of Denver. Also, I'll add another thing to it. Broncos defense used to be great and has struggled of late. First 12 games, this is one of the best defenses we've seen in our lifetimes. Probably a stretch. Last 4 games, they've been eaten up.
Oh, you're throwing out the Week 18 game.
Yes, I'm sorry. We're throwing the Chiefs game. I'm throwing that out statistically. Vibes-wise, I'm not.
Okay.
I'm just not throwing it out for Bo Nix.
Yeah.
Bo Nix was still slinging that thing.
And he was awesome.
And he was great. Yeah. Bills defense, so we know that they've been up and down. The Bills defense hasn't been great. 44 points to the Rams and the mighty Matthew Stafford, 42 points to the Lions, 21 points to the Patriots, which, if you think about it, might be actually more
worse
points.
Than 44.
Joe Milton, their third
and 14 to the Jets, where they dominated the Jets. Yeah. And here's the other thing, Douglas Clawson of CBS. Broncos, 28 sacks in their last 7 games. The Bills have allowed Josh Allen to get sacked in his last 7 games 1 time.
Yeah.
That being said, that is the key to the game. If the Broncos defense can get to Josh Allen, it's the only way you can beat a superpower team, especially this one. We see it with Mahomes in the Super Bowl. You see it with, if you're going to beat Tom Brady, you got to hit him. If they can hit Josh Allen, who's not used to getting hit, and they're good at it, and they run some sort of Aaron Glenn send the house at Sam Darnold, you know what? We only have one way to win this game. And Josh is still good against the blitz. But you got to try something. Just straight up, mano-y-mano.
You're playing with house money.
So why not take a shot? Have Bo has overachieved. Sean Payton, they do have the coaching edge. I could see it. I saw the Patriots play them tough. And the Broncos are much better than the Patriots.
So you see an upset coming?
I could see it. Am I willing to guarantee the upset?
Well, you don't have to see it coming to say it's more likely than
it's more likely.
I mean, that's
I think I agree with you in that the key to this game, you got the best pass rush. They led the league in sacks by a mile, Denver. and they can get to the passer. But here's the thing. It's not just the Bills' offensive line that keeps Josh from getting sacks.
Josh.
Like,
Josh
it's
Allen.
him. And I think the key to me is their pass rush, because I think they will get pressure on him. But that could lead to him running.
Correct.
And so if your spy can't keep up with him, then it could be a huge game. And I actually think it will. I agree. I don't think, like, look, technically, I think they're going to win by 2 touchdowns. Technically, that's a blowout. But there are comfortable wins that aren't really blowouts, right? That don't feel like a blowout. So I'm putting this in that category. That's what I said about the Ravens. I think they win by a comfortable margin, but it's going to feel like a tough game.
Yeah. Well, I don't think 2 touchdowns is a blowout. You can't just look at it like that. You have to figure out like how these touchdowns, because it could be a 7-point game going into the final 3 minutes of the court, of the fourth, and then the other team just puts up another touchdown, and now it's 14. So that's, to me, that's not a blowout. But yeah, listen, Nick said a few things there. 1 minute he's like, Bo Nix has been excellent, but I think the Broncos feel better than they probably should about Bo and this team. It's like, okay. And he's like, it's a great story, not a great team, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Now, to be fair, Denver Broncos fans, this should most likely be the perspective and the takes from the vast majority of people out there, that the Broncos have no chance to go to Buffalo and beat Josh Allen and the Bills, to be fair, right? Like, it makes the most logical sense, considering how these two teams are playing, considering Bo Nix being a rookie, being on the road, playing in Buffalo, going up against Josh Allen, right? Like, it's just like that is the take. That is the take right there. And like I've said, even to Broncos fans, like, even if you lose, even if you get blown out, like, you still shouldn't even be remotely upset. This isn't even necessarily house money. I mean, like, this is like monopoly money for the Denver Broncos. They weren't even remotely close to supposed to be here at all. But the difference is that the Denver Broncos and Sean Payton and Bo Nix and the coaching staff and the roster, they knew they were supposed to be here. Like, they're not like, hey, this is just house money. We're not supposed to be here. They're like, of course we're supposed to be here. That's why we're here. We're not punching above our weight. Like, this is what we're capable of doing. Just because you guys doubted us, just because you didn't think it was possible, just because you didn't think Bo Nix was going to be a good quarterback, just because you didn't think Sean Payton was a good coach, doesn't mean that was true. So house money in a casino is like, I'm playing with like extra money that I just kind of won somehow. I got lucky on blackjack, and now I got this extra money. That's playing with house money. The Broncos are playing with like their actual money, or like I said, monopoly money, where it's all like, this is all just fake. So I don't see that. From a fan perspective, you're like, hey, I'm just happy we bid it because we weren't supposed to be here. Because that's what I was told. That's what I was informed. I was told all offseason, this team's not going to be that good. So it's so interesting because I talk like this all the time, that the Broncos are ahead of schedule. And I think anytime that you have a rookie quarterback and you make the playoffs, or just win the amount, even if they missed the playoffs but still won, the same amount of games, I would still say that they're ahead of schedule. But it is interesting because if you have the team and the quarterback and the coach and the roster that's good enough to do this, then you're not ahead of schedule. You're right on schedule. This is what you're supposed to be able to do, which is why you did it. That's why you did it. You have some teams that are playing with house money. It's like you have a backup quarterback, the team's not that good, and yet they somehow were able to go on a run. They were able to win 4 or 5 games in a row, and now they're in the playoffs. Like, that's house money. You're truly not supposed to be there. And if we went back in time and did this all again, the outcome would not be the same. Whereas with the Broncos right now, if we go back in time and do it all again, there's a great chance that they would have even more wins. They would be even better. So that's why trying to figure out the Broncos and what the expectations should be are kind of really fascinating when you really kind of drill down and get deeper and deeper and deeper into it, which I love to do, obviously. I love to get lost in the weeds. But to be fair, for someone who believed that the Broncos would be significantly better than what the original expectations are, I do think it's fair for you to go into this game with completely neutral, perception, completely neutral expectations. Where if they win, that is awesome, and it should feel house money, even though I've already kind of went after that side of the take. But I think it's still fair to just kind of, make it easy language to kind of have that appreciation. And if they lose, even if they get rolled 42-0, you still can't be like, this was a bummer. This was messed up. I can't believe we ended like this. You can't have that mentality either. Because like I said, at the end of the day, having a rookie quarterback and getting to the playoffs and finally righting this ship, getting to the playoffs for the first time since 2015, that is a massive victory. Massive victory. And they've already proven what the expectations are now moving forward. The expectations are to make the playoffs. We know what the floor is for this Denver Broncos team and Bo Nix and Sean Payton quarterback coach duo. It is to make the playoffs. And now the moving forward is all about elevating. It's all about elevating. And it's all about how do we now make our floor winning the division, the AFC Championship game, Super Bowl, obviously. Like I don't know if your floor could ever be a Super Bowl, but, constantly raising that up. That's what this whole offseason will be about and going into next season. Because now next season, what are the expectations going to be? For them to be competing for a division, to win the division. Unless the Chiefs go out and get Tyreek Hill back and Saquon Barkley's like, I'm so mad at Philadelphia Eagles for not letting me go for the record. Get me out of Philly. And they get like Saquon and Derrick Henry for good measure. Like, unless you see the Chiefs really boost up, like you should be able to compete for the division. Same thing with the Chargers. And that's what I'm saying. Like you guys should all be kind of splitting wins here now. And heck, who knows? Maybe the Raiders go out and get Bill Belichick and now like he changes that very quickly. And then boom. They get Sam Darnold, Bill Belichick, Tom Brady pulling some strings. And like, again, maybe now you really do got a 4-team division. Right? Now where you're actually beating each other. And now it's like, hey, man, the division is up for grabs. Like things change very quickly in the NFL. We know that. Denver Broncos fans know that. 1 minute, they're on the outside looking in. Next minute, hey, we're in the playoffs, baby. Let's go. So I think it's all positive, all exciting. I'm sure a lot of Broncos fans can get upset with some of this content of like, hey, the Bills are going to blow them out. And I get it. I really, really do. And that's why it's like my mentality going into this game is like, I have so many different thoughts in terms of who I think can win, how they can win, what the Broncos would need to win, what the Bills will do. And that's why for this game, like, I'm just really going to sit back and just watch. And I'm going to try not to, because a lot of times when I watch games like this, obviously I have no control over the games, but like in my mind, I try to like manipulate the situation to where I'm going to be like, I want the Broncos to be able to score a touchdown here because then that'll make it, 14-14 going into the second half, going into the 2-minute warning. Like I try to like be like, okay, and then this can happen, that can happen. Like I create all these scenarios in my mind. For this, I'm just going to like just watch, just straight up. I'm just going to watch and just keep, take the notes that I do in like the most neutral way possible. That's what I'm going to do for all the playoffs. And just be like, if the Broncos stun the Bills and come out the gate 21-3 in the first half, I'm not going to think anything else about it. I'm just going to document exactly why all that happened. I'm going to do all my analysis after, is what I'm ultimately saying. Because a lot of times I try to analyze throughout the game. This, I'm just going to watch. I'm going to be a robot. Just observe everything, take all my notes, and then after the game's over, I'm going to be like, okay, what did I just watch? And that's why for all these games, I'm going to be doing post-games breakdowns like immediately after, which will be fun because then I'll be processing it in real time. I think that's probably a pretty decent way to go about it with the Broncos, or to go about it for these playoffs, to try to make sure that, what you're observing isn't forced based off of what you hope a team like the Broncos can do in this situation. But yeah, we will find out soon enough. And I truly, I've been saying this for weeks now. I truly cannot wait for these games, man. So pumped. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Denver Broncos? What do you think is more likely? that the Bills blow them out, or that the Broncos upset the Bills? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here, and I absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much, and see you next time.